In the list of all-time great Olympians, Nadia Comeneci stands at the very top. A prodigious talent at 6, an international at 9, on the very first day of the Montreal Olympic Games, aged just 14, she scored a perfect 10. The first of 5 unprecedented maximums. After 3 Olympic golds in '76, she won 2 more in Moscow 4 years later, denied the overall title by blatant biased Soviet judging. But all her success came against the backdrop of the Ceausescu regime's tyranny in Romania, from where she escaped in 1989 to take up US citizenship. But the image of the 14-year-old waif who dominated the world is one of the most enduring in all Olympic history. Ladies and gentlemen, Nadia Comeneci. So when you've been told you're perfect at 14, what do you do after that?
Nothing, I guess. I didn't expect to receive a perfect 10. I didn't know that I was the first one that got a 10. Because if you think back in 1976, when they turned the scoreboard, there was a 1.00 because they had only 3 digits. They couldn't make a 10. So usually I'm not watching the scoreboard because I think I did a pretty good routine. I expected to get probably 9.8 or 9.9. And when I saw 1.00, I was confused because I didn't know I did that bad. So I didn't know what that meant.
Do you think it was that good?
If I watch my routines now that I did in '76, it looks pretty perfect. But inside, because I did so many times the same routine, it was not as perfect that I did some other routines, so it was a little bit different, but it looks perfect on TV.
When you were 14 and a Romanian girl a long way from home, how did you celebrate that amazing achievement?
Well, we went back from the competition and they put me the first one to get out of the plane with my medals, and then when I saw so many people, I ran back on the plane because I didn't realize there would be so many people out waiting for me.
We said at the start that you were a gymnast at 6, international at 9, and it's easy to forget now because it does almost seem like a long time ago that there was this great Eastern European domination of so many sports. What sort of a training regime did you actually undergo in those days?
I started gymnastics when I was 6 years old, and the reason I started was because I was that kind of kid that had a lot of energy, and I was jumping around in the house and destroyed the furniture. So my mom took me to a gymnastics school. I was lucky that in the city where I was born, there was a gymnastics school. And that's how I started involved in gymnastics.
But subsequently, when you were actually competing internationally, did you feel you were being pushed beyond what you should have been or not?
No, I never felt that because I got involved because I loved the sport. And at the beginning, I used to do only one time a week. And then when I turned 12 years old, the hours add up. Because, you know, you start involved in a sport, and then the next thing after you accomplish, you learn things, the next thing is that you want to compete. And you want challenge, and then after you have experience of competition, there are some kids that are better than you, and you try to add some more hours to be better than they are. And that's how I ended up before the Olympics, with 2 years before I used to train 7 hours a day.
You talk about competing, and of course you were flying the Ceausescu regime's flag overseas. Did that ever infringe on your life, or were you oblivious to what was happening at home?
I had no idea what was happening, because I was just a kid. And I think in a way it's better that I didn't know too much. When I look back now, I think different, but I was happy I didn't know too much.
But when you defected, it's actually almost like a story from Sound of Music, isn't it? That you sort of walked for hours across the hills to get away.
Like a bad script for a movie, yeah? I defected in '89, And I had no idea that the revolution was coming. I'm not sure what my decision wouldn't been if I knew the revolution would happen in Romania. And there was a difficult time for everybody, not only for me, because it's hard to explain how a communist system works, because you have to live there to understand how it is. You know, you're told what to do, you follow all the time. And I just took that chance to get out of the country in 1989, and it was very difficult because I had to leave my family behind, and I never told my mom I'm leaving because I thought she's going to have a heart attack if she knew. But I had to tell my brother because he was living with me in the house, and if you know, if you live in a communist system, you're a traitor. That's how the system works, and they take away everything you own. So I had to tell my brother, so he knew, and he had to do some arrangements with the house.
So did you just literally leave in the dark at night time and just sneak out with nobody watching?
I left with 6 more people in the dark, yeah, and it was one person that did that 3 times, and they caught him, and they sent him to jail, and he tried it again with us, and the only thing I remember, he told us that, keep it to the right, because if you go too much to the left, you're going to end up in Bucharest again, so... We were walking, and we had no idea where we were. They said that you have to cross the border. It's a piece of black ground, and I mean, we passed 12 pieces of black ground, and we still didn't know where we were.
Now when you look back on your Olympic career, how proud can you be at this distance of what you achieved those years ago?
I'm really, really happy, because my life that I have today is because of what I did when I was 14. And it wasn't difficult for me, because there was something, of course there was a lot of hours of work, but when I look back, the years are gone. I would have been 36 today, and now when I look back, I accomplished something in my life, and I'm happy.
You sure did. Well, you are one of the great Olympic greats. Thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you.
Nadia Comeneci. And next week, Europe's top golfer.